I'm filming a bit.
Filming a bit, just double check.
Yeah.
Stabilize. Okay, cool. That's 60, that's 60. Okay, so yeah, I know this works. So, righty, I'm recording. So just let me know when you start filming. Cool, awesome.
Hello again, everybody. This is Harvey from Meridian Australis at the Clunes Book Fair. I am here joined now by Henry Neilsen, author of SUNWARD SKY, a really incredible spacefaring space opera, but with a little twist. Do you want to tell us a little bit about SUNWARD SKY?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Harvey. So SUNWARD SKY was a story that I wrote initially as a podcast, and it's set in low Earth orbit, and it's about the effects of spacefaring and long-term effects of space life and the negative effects that happen because of that. And it's about a researcher that goes up to try and understand what's happening to the astronauts that are on these long-term space flights, and they get to the point where they're not even able to live on the Earth anymore. Yeah, so that's the sort of the basic pitch.
I like that. It's like a sort of really realistic exploration of the impacts of a lot of the things we see in sci-fi that are generally kind of just hand-waved away, of like people spend years on a spaceship and then just get off and walk around on a planet with regular gravity. What got you into writing, and then sort of where did this novel come from initially? You said it started as a podcast?
Yeah, so I started writing in 2017 and decided to sort of go, you know, I actually do want to write a book. It's sort of a dream of a lot of people, and I was like, well, you've got to take it seriously if you're going to do it. There's a lot of stuff that I wrote between 2017 and sort of 2020 that it will never see the light of day. But then then I sort of got to a point where I was like, oh yeah, this is all right. And then the idea for SUNWARD SKY started because, especially during 2020, there was that whole movement around, we thank our frontline workers, and it was just like, well, we thank our frontline workers, but we're not going to treat them better. We're not going to pay them more. We're not going to you realize that they are the actual sort of bleeding edge of the exposure to the coronavirus and all that sort of thing. So I started to try to think about a world in which there was a lot of concern about, or that sort of lack of concern, I suppose, of people, but being taken to the nth degree, where it's like, we're just going to send these people away and they're just going to make sure our systems keep working, but we're not going to actually look after them, and we're not going to think about the health effects on those people. So that was sort of the initial jumping off point for writing this one.
I really like the line you have in your blurb that is, space work is now the purview of the forgotten, the desperate, and the downtrodden, those with nowhere else to go but up. I think that's first of all, it's a great line. Are you a writer or something? But also, no, I really like the sort of the approach of instead of the spacefarers being the sort of sci-fi heroes or even the brave, intrepid scientists, they're the wage workers. They're the delivery drivers and the healthcare workers. I think that's a really cool interpretation of almost the class dynamic, not to get a little too Marxist. I swear we're apolitical. But no, I think it's really awesome. And you self-published and you funded through Kickstarter. Was that always the plan? Did you consider or try to shop around for a traditional publisher, or were you always I'm going to do this myself?
For this one, it was always going to be self-published if I was going to publish it at all. As I said earlier, it was initially a podcast, and there's a bit of a thing in publishing, whereas if it's been published elsewhere before, unless it goes on to sell absolutely gangbusters like 50 Shades of Grey or The Martian, publishers won't touch it. So I was just like, it's going to be something that I'm going to have to do myself. And Kickstarter or crowdfunding in general, I don't want to just necessarily say Kickstarter, was a really good way to sort of try to cover costs and say, I can actually afford to do this if I can get this much buy-in and see that there is some sort of audience there already. Yeah. So that was really, really powerful as a tool for just making sure that at the very least you were going to be in the black at the end of the process. Yeah. So yeah, I highly recommend if you're an independent author giving it a go. But yeah, it was always going to be a self-published thing.
Just quickly then, to give us a sense of scale, how many backers did you need to get in the black? How many people needed to pitch in to support you to get you sort of at a point where you were confident in going ahead and publishing? So
it's a bit of a complicated thing, because if you sell more physical books, you get a lower margin on that versus if you sell ebooks. Sure. So it was sort of between 40 and 70,
Yeah.
and I ended up getting 66 backers. So I basically just covered my costs on that one. But yeah, it was a really good experience anyway. But yeah, it's a bit of a fun one to figure out.
Well, I just think it's really awesome to get a sort of a rough number on that, like 40 to 60 people. You don't need to sell your book to half the country to make it work, which I think is like what's really exciting. I mean, for us, for Austral, we printed 100 copies, 200 copies, and ended up, very well in the green with that. And that was, mostly that's friends and family, and then just friends of friends. And I think it's really cool, and especially being at Clunes, to see how achievable it is to have like a level of success and flourishing without needing to be the next Fourth Wing or Colleen Hoover. Now, okay, is there anything else? Like, what are your other creative pursuits? Where can we find you online? What should we know about you? Just sort of pitch yourself.
Oh no.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so you can find me on Instagram at Henry Neilsen _writer. That's where I post all my updates about where all my writing stuff is. I've got another novel that is undergoing like a final revision before I do another Kickstarter later this year. I also write on Substack, so that's henryneilsen.substack.com, where I write a bit of book reviews, quite a bit of like criticism of tech and tech bros. And that sort of thing. And you can also find me, on Blue Sky and on Threads and those sorts of things, but I'm a bit less active on there. But yeah, that's where you can find me.
Hey, Henry, thank you so much. Everybody go and buy SUNWARD SKY. Also come and buy Austral. You can check us out at Meridian Australis on Instagram. Meridianaustralis.au is our website. We have a reviews podcast. We have interviews with other authors. We have a dark fantasy zine, some ebooks. We have a whole bunch of things, a lot of writers' resources. Yeah, Clunes is amazing. I'm looking forward to the rest of the day. So yeah, thanks for joining me. Awesome. Cheers.